as we were arriving in the stop, I confronted two arms traders who were sitting in front of me, and I said, may God forgive you for what you're doing, and may your children, as they grow up and discover what you're doing, may they forgive you too. And he was really upset, and he was saying, oh, I'm not an arms trader, and written on his bag is the company he works for, and myself and my partner were looking over his shoulder, and he was reading a military capability report on a weapon. I said, well, you clearly are an arms trader, and you can't even admit that you are. And he said, but, right? He said, but we give everyone the right to self-defence. And I said, so what kind of self-defence does a cluster bomb engender? And you know, the guy was just speechless.
He's never thought about it before, and you made him think.
Absolutely, yeah.
They don't like it.
No, they don't like it. Especially if you say, well, I hope your children can forgive you.
Exactly. This was always my line. Exactly. He's got a mortgage, he's got kids, and he's got a job.
Oh no, he's got much more than that. Arms traders have got swimming pools and.
This is the problem. This is why I left the church that I used to belong to, because, as you say, once you think that it challenges your whole lifestyle, that is so unsettling, people won't do it. They just back off. They back off completely. Yeah. And they're gone. No, good. That's nice to meet you. Have you got one of those?
On the back of Peace News, there's an advert. Ever think about what you're saying?
Yeah.
If you ever talk with him.
Have you got one?
Right-hand corner, David.
Have you got one of those?
I'll get it now.
Tonight.
On the back,
that's the meeting
back
tonight.
of Peace News. I'll go and get one now.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
That's the one.
You can come along. That's great. Thank you very much.
When's this?
Tonight. Shan't be there myself. I don't think I'm going to.
Is this the candle? Candle?
No. This is just a.
Oh right.
It's the second part of the meeting. It's educational, really.
Yeah.
To talk about how we got on. To look at the possibilities and best ways ahead and that sort of thing. You know, basically.
It's free to get in.
It's free to get in. It's basically what I would describe as a campaigners injection, where people you know, get ideas and help each other and give each other the enthusiasm to carry on for the next month or 2 months.
Yeah.
It can be extremely soul destroying, can't it?
Well, it can be, but also it can be the complete opposite, which is like you realise you're not alone. And
that's it. That's it. Thank you.
See you later, sir.
Thank.
Carry one, yeah? Yeah.
Carry it.
Very well.
You carry it on the march, yeah?
How did you do it? You just doctored that onto the.
Yeah.
Cool. I like that. Nice.
How you doing?
Good.
Why did you come today? What made you come today? How did you know about it and stuff?
My mum found out about it on the internet, I think. Yeah, and so she told me about that, and I really wanted to go. I think weapons are a bad thing.
Yeah.
Also, I was going to take my friend today, but she had to go to school, so she couldn't come.
Yeah, why aren't you at school today? You're bunking off to do this?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh no. You're not. I'll tell you what, I'm a teacher, so I'm bunking off school today actually. I pulled a sickie, so I can come on this instead, you know. Actually that's interesting, home educated, so is that under educated or otherwise, is it? Oh right.
Yeah.
So how many people when you get taught, is it one-to-one, is it just your mum teaching you or?
Sometimes schools get taught at the same time.
Cool, right. So, you know, one of the things that people say about education otherwise, right, is do you still get to hang out with loads of other kids your age? That's the you do. Right.
There are lots of groups where lots of home educated children go to, so it meets up with other home educated children as well.
Yeah. I think that's brilliant. You're the first youngster I've met for ages who does it actually. Okay, let's get back on this then. Have you been on any other marches then, Ellie?
No, but I've been wanting to for ages, but I haven't really had the chance to.
Sure, right. Okay, one of the things that's really good for us is children are really handy on marches because the police, some marches the police can get very heavy, but they can't get heavy if they've got lovely youngsters like you at the front of the march, you know what I mean? Nice flashing of eyes. And amongst your friends, do you think there's many others who would come on marches like this?
Yeah, lots.
Really? Right.
Yeah.
I mean, some of them can't come because they had school today and stuff like that. Yeah. And I suppose they can't come, because they're your age, they can't really come on their own, they've got to come with their mum or dad or an adult, really, yeah. Okay, so can you think that when you're like 16, 17, do you think you'll still be coming to marches like this?
Definitely.
That's so cool. I've got a feeling, this is an important question. Do you think your opinions about wanting to change the world, do you think you're unusual for your age to have these opinions, or do you think that's quite usual?
I'm not sure. Not so many school children like want to do this sort of stuff, but lots of my friends do. So
That's interesting.
yeah, but lots of them are home educated. So I'm not
Yeah,
sure.
yeah. But I mean, I'm a teacher at school, right? I think it's because the children at school just don't know this exists. Because every time I teach 12 to 18, so secondary, right? Every time I talk to them about things like this, they didn't even know about it. Do you know what I mean? They didn't know about anti-war marches. They don't know about any kind of marches like this. You know, they just thought you had to accept the way things are. There's nothing you can do about it. You know. But okay. Do you use the internet yet? Being 11, do you get on the internet already, or?
Sometimes.
Right.
Not much.
So, Mum, what website did you? Sorry to get you. What website did you find out about this on?
It was on an email list of one of the home ed groups. Somebody posted it, so I followed up the links and found out all the details.
Right.
And we live here as well. I mean, we live in Newham.
You live?
We live in Newham.
Oh, you live in
Yeah.
anyway. Oh, okay, right.
So I thought it was about time we got involved in something a bit local at any rate.
Yeah. You know, were you here 2 years ago on the right? You know, the locals were so in support of the demonstrators. It's amazing, man. You know, they're every second house, people were out of the house going, "Come on!" You know, because the police were being very, very rough 2 years ago, and the locals were so behind us. It was amazing. We're up at the. It's really good to know, you know, and it's very multicultural, this area as well, you know. But it's all cultures were out there in support, and the same in Scotland at the G8 summit up there. All the Scottish people were out there. Again, supporting us and urging us on and stuff, you know. But it's just very interesting to speak to people of Ellie's age, because a lot of people see one of the kind of best hopes is how many young people get involved in these kind of things. Sorry, Thomas. Oh, right, yeah, go on, yeah. Anyway, that's what I was waffling on about, Ellie. You know, the more people your age come on things like this, the better, basically, because when these things get covered, usually in the newspapers, what the newspapers do, they're going to take photographs of, you know, bad fighting going on, and they're going to say, look at these demonstrators, they're horrible, violent people, you know. If there's a picture of lovely people like you on the front page holding these banners, I mean, a picture of you holding something like that, I mean, anybody with a half a brain can go, you know, my God, children are even sensible enough to realise that something has to be done, something's got to change. Of course, the other thing is, this is your world that you're growing up into, and surely you want this world to change for the better. You're getting very hot, aren't you?
Yeah, that's shoulder.
Yeah. Here's a good question for you, and then I'll shut up then, because I'm putting a lot of pressure on you. Well, if you could change three things, what were the things you'd like to change first in the world? The way the government runs the world, what's happening in the planet, what would you want to change the most?
People from putting so much pollution in. All the warfare and wars.
And wars? Yeah, okay. So, pollution and warfare?
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Great. You're fantastic. Look. Well, thanks a lot, Ellie. Brilliant. Thanks, Mum.
Where do we get the results?
You could. Ellie's written down Jamie's website. He's got a website where he puts up a lot of activist film. And there'll be stuff on there. Is there a contact through there? Is there?
If everyone wants to just come in procession behind them, we're going to leave out of the gate where all the police are standing, and then we're going to turn right and go down that road there. Okay, so just a couple more minutes. Thanks for being patient.
Does anybody want a flag? Lovely flags. There you go. Just get them back to us at the end. That's all we ask. Oh, you've got a bit of a leaf litter on there. There we go.
Bring this up to the page. This is up in the page.
Well, none of them do Coca-Cola. None of them do McDonald's anymore either. You know?
Oh, excellent. Oh, right. What's McDonald's got to do with war stuff? I mean, I know they're bad.
Well, they say America, when it all started off, they go, America. But okay, right.
Kind of describes
very sympathetic from the youth. Quite a nice chap, really. It's quite sympathetic with you, but
they turned down the appeal for judicial review.
Who had people got recently? I didn't ring up.
He said there was a strong argument that needed to be heard. The appeal goes to the House of Lords, and it's likely that they'll say the same, and therefore it'll go to Strasbourg. Yeah, I was at the court case.
I feel more modern costumes.
Yeah, there's a leaflet with all the stuff and all the contact details. The two at the front are two of the seven there. So
I record some programs off the computer and the wires sticking around.
The tale says it in Welsh. We've got two Welsh people actually.
Come along this evening. Good afternoon. I am Jamie 1, and we are on the march on the 13th of September. This march is going from Central Park in Newham, and this march is going to go all the way to Exhale. This particular march is against what we call DSEI. That's the arms trade fair that's happening in Exhale. It happens once every 2 years. It's the biggest arms trade fair in the world. America is the biggest arms trader. The United Kingdom is the second biggest arms trader, and Russia is the third biggest arms trader in the world. 2 years ago, when this arms trade was happening, cluster bombs were being sold and landmines were being sold, both of which were illegal to be sold at the time. Later it transpired that 284 of the traders were actually illegal traders. All of these things were known by the government and by the police, and nothing was done about it. Most Londoners are against the arms trade. Ken Livingstone is against the arms trade. Tony Blair is one of the few people who is for the arms trade, arguing that it brings in lots of revenue to the country. On the way out here today, we were on the tube with two arms traders sat in front of us, and we just very politely said, may God forgive you for what you do, and when your children grow up and discover what you do, may they be able to forgive you too. To which the guy replied, I'm not an arms trader. And I said, well, going by the paper you're reading, which is a feasibility study of a new bombing technique, going by what's written on your bag, I suspect you are a young man. And he said, well, everyone has a right to self-defence. And I was arguing that I find it difficult to believe that cluster bombs have anything to do with self-defence. At which he ran off. He was a bit like a rabbit in someone's headlights at night. She was quite shocked by it. Anyway, we'll continue talking to you over the course of this march. We're interviewing a variety of people. This is the first of many pieces of footage, and it's probably not going to be at the beginning of our film. And this is Jamie 1 and Jamie 2 saying goodbye for the time being, viewers, and we'll see you soon. And by the way, I'm learning what I'm going to do and what I'm going to say as I'm doing it, which is probably quite exciting for you viewers, you know. So I got somewhere in the city, everyone would have got much further.
No, in fact I left after that first stage.
The amount of energy that was given out by the reaction. So now they've got to see
Happy children. So it's like a great promotional photograph for Tony. Yeah, so they've, obviously they've changed the backgrounds, which is great. Here I am in an apocalypse caused by me, I'm delighted. Taking a picture, sent back to Mum.
Mum or George?
George, yeah. I heard someone talking the other day about the Bushes, banning abortion. Oh, really?
Where he was directly responsible, even the Israelis sacked him from his post then,
Right.
Because of that, and now it's at the UN, it's like...
That's just amazing,
sick,
man. That's sick, man. Yeah.
Very sick. And then we have to react to the fact that this Israeli general nearly got arrested yesterday.
Yeah.
But also for committing war crimes and stuff. And he landed in Heathrow or something, and then got tipped off by I don't know, apparently from the Foreign Office.
Yeah.
That he's going to be arrested if he leaves the plane.
So he stayed on the plane and went back?
and went back.
Was this in the paper?
It's today.
It's amazing to see you all here. This is a really fantastic turnout. Thank you all for being here. I know that many of you have travelled many miles to be here today, and you've given up days' work and whatever to be here and show your opposition to this disgusting event. I also know that for everyone that's here, there are loads more people who couldn't be here today, but they're here in spirit if they're not here in person. People opposed to this event that's going on in that building over there behind those trees that they won't let us get close to is a disgusting event, and people are opposed to it everywhere. People are opposed to it. They live here in Newham and they're fed up with their lives being disrupted every 2 years by a supermarket of death. They live here in London and they're angry that this city, which was targeted by bombers only a few weeks ago, is now being used to push more arms onto the world. And there's people opposed to this event from across the UK, from across Europe and from across the world. And we're sickened once again by the hypocritical behaviour of this Blair government and his cronies who pay lip service to peace, human rights and ending poverty, and then undermine all of those things by putting corporate greed and profit at the top of their agenda. People opposed to this event are everywhere, and we are united in our rejection of violence in all its forms. And we're united in the knowledge that the proliferation of weaponry across the world only increases violence and can only result in more deaths and more suffering around the globe. In that building over there, there are over 1,000 arms companies from countries all over the world. They're selling everything from battleships to fighter jets to small guns to torture equipment. And this equipment is being aggressively promoted to some of the worst human rights abusers on this planet. A little earlier this year, the government published a report which named the top 20 human rights abusers in the world, and 7 of those have been invited here by the UK government to buy more arms. Weapons are being promoted to countries that are currently engaged in devastating conflicts. Countries like Colombia, where thousands of people have been killed and hundreds of thousands of people have been displaced. They're also being promoted to countries in which the majority of people are in deep poverty, where access to clean water and antiretroviral drugs is only a privilege for the very few. And these same countries are being invited here by Reed Elsevier, the private company that runs this arms fair, and the UK Ministry of Defence, which supports this arms fair, to shop alongside one another to spend their budgets on more weapons. This is only going to undermine peace and well-being around the world. The only winner from this arms fair going on in there is big business. This event is not about countries' right to self-defence or selling disaster relief equipment like they'd like us to believe it is. This event is about making profits for arms companies from terrible weapons. It's about making profits for global multinational weapons dealers. It's about making profit from the deaths of millions of people around the world. And it's about facilitating the dirty business of the global arms trade. This is the global arms trade come to London, come to our community. And it's an important stop on the whole arms trade circuit. This arms industry in our country is subsidised to the tune of £888 million a year. And that's us. We're the taxpayer and we're paying that. And it continues to get this unjustifiable support because it continues to have a privileged position within government. Time and time again, the government and the taxpayer are forced to roll over for arms companies. Well, we're not going to roll over for corporate profit anymore. We're not going to let the global arms trade... arms trade do its terrible business in our communities or in anyone else's communities around the world. We need to go away now, and we need to keep campaigning to get 2007 cancelled. We need to keep up the pressure on the organisers of this disgusting arms fair, the UK government and the private company Reed Elsevier who run it for them. They can't justify the return of the arms fair in 2007. We have to make sure it doesn't come back. Thank you for being here. Is Bill Perry around?
There.
There. Bill is an amazing guy who lives just over there in the shadow of the Excel Centre. So he's going to just say a few words.
Yeah, I ain't got much to say. Listen.
If you hold that in,
Yeah?
as you speak.
Right, can you hear me? I was born round here. I'm 60 years old. I was born just over the road and I've lived here all my life. And as a child, this was just a bomb site. This was the result. I was born at the end of the Second World War. And this was just a bomb site. All our childhoods were spent playing on debris that had been bombed. I lost a lot of my family in the Second World War. Just over the road there was Hallsville School where hundreds of kids were killed and bombed. It's an insult, man, to have this shit on our backyard. I belong to two organisations. One is called ELAF and the other is called the Garden Community Cafe, just over the road, and we campaign all the year round to get this supermarket of death taken out of the game. And over the years, you people that come into our manor have taken a lot of criticism. But I'll tell you what, I'm fucking glad to see the lot of you. You're incredible. And you are making a difference. You really are. After this, if you want a cup of tea or a bit of food, my cafe's just over there. I don't know if you're all in, but you're all welcome, right? And it's all free. Please come and see us. Come and see me if you want to know where it is. Most of you know it. Okay, thank you. God bless you. You're beautiful.
We're now going to hear from Councillor Alan Craig, who's a local councillor who managed to get a motion passed in Newham Council, unanimous motion passed that this arms fair is not what we want in Newham. So he's just going to say a few words.
You have to hold it in, yeah.
Thank you very much indeed. Can you hear me? You beautiful people, thank you very much indeed for coming to our area here. You've heard from Bill, who was born and bred round here. I live just about 1.5 miles across there. And every time this arms fair happens, our lives, my family's lives, my neighbours' lives are disrupted by what goes on. And what has surprised me and what has delighted me is that from all the different communities here in the East End of London, nobody wants this arms fair here. You've heard Bill say on behalf of the traditional East End families and community here, what devastation bombs caused. It was Black Saturday here, the first Saturday in September 1940, when the Luftwaffe came up here and bombed and bombed and bombed this area all around the docks. And that went on right throughout the Blitz. And the people in the East End know what it is to suffer from the arms trade and from the arms business. But Newham is proud of the fact that now we are one of only 2 boroughs in the whole country where the ethnic minorities are now the majority. According to the census, 61% of the people in Newham come from abroad. And many of them come here to escape from repressive, dictatorial regimes. They come here to actually live their own lives the way they want to. They come from South America, they come from Africa, they come from Asia. And they come here to live in peace. And we have a peaceful community. But this is therefore an insult to them as well, that this supermarket in death and the dealing in death should take place here on their very doorstep. Jesus Christ said, "Blessed are the peacemakers." But over there, we have the warmongers. We are looking to peace. Peacemaking is something that you and I can do. We can make representation for it. On behalf of the people here of Canning Town and Custom House, on behalf of the people of Newham, on behalf of the people of East London, welcome. Make your your protest. It is time this arms fair was stopped. It is certainly time this arms fair was moved on. Let's move it on and let's stop it together. Thank you very much indeed.
Okay, do you want to introduce yourself?
Hello. I'd like to just introduce myself very briefly. I'm Len Aldis. I live in Tower Hamlets. This is the 4th arms fair that I have attended along with my Tower Hamlets C&D group. And I hope very much that it will be the last one. Yay! And also I hope it will be the last one ever to be held in this country or any other country. But friends, yesterday morning I arrived back from my annual visit to Vietnam. Many of you will remember the American War. It ended 30 years ago this year. And while I was there, I saw the victims of the chemical they used, Agent Orange, which has gone into the 3rd generation. The equivalent today is on sale at the arms fair, and it's called depleted uranium. Also, while I was in Vietnam, I saw a young child of 7 years old, badly wounded by the cluster bomb, which we dropped along with the Americans in that terrible war. They are also on sale, and they have been used by us with the Americans in the war on Iraq, another illegal war. But further, and this applies to what we have done to Fallujah and the people of Fallujah, by using the upgraded napalm. Again, if you remember the Vietnam War, you remember the young child Kim running down the road, would have been affected by napalm. Well, she's now married with 2 young children, and I hope very much that her children will not go again through what her mother went. But unfortunately, we have upgraded the napalm, and it is on sale across the road. Friends, we have got a lot of work to do to keep on the campaign and to keep new weapons being developed by this country or any other country. Thank you very much for listening to me.
Okay. You have to keep it quite close to your mouth.
Hello, my name's John Saunders. I'm a councillor in Newham like Alan Craig, and we don't agree on everything, as Alan knows, but on this issue we're together. I'm a humanist, not a Christian. I'm a member of the Labour Party, and many of you won't welcome that. But I do stand here as a member of the group in the Labour Party who have marched against the war and are against having an arms fair in Newham and an arms fair anywhere, really. And I wanted to stand up today and welcome you all for coming here, thanking you all for coming here. Without you coming here from various parts of London and elsewhere, we will not end this exhibition. It will go on. And your presence is very important. And I'm just going to say, on behalf of the residents of Newham, thank you very much for taking the time to come here and demonstrate for something which a lot of residents are at one with you. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name's Jenny Jones, and I'm a Green Party member of the London Assembly. And 2 years ago, I actually had an invitation to the arms fair, and so I went along to see, because I'm a great believer in knowing your enemy. And I took a bunch of peace campaigners with me, we took photographs, and it was a fascinating couple of hours. But the most interesting thing, and in a way the most absolutely horrifying and chilling thing about that visit for me, was the fact that it looked just like any trade fair of any kind that you could possibly imagine. So they could have been selling bicycles, they could have been selling solar panels, they could have been selling anything. It just looked like an ordinary place. It did not look like something, you know, they weren't saying buy your cluster bombs here. And somehow for me, the fact that it was looking so normal was absolutely terrifying, because it means that the people who are dealing in weapons of death can't understand. There is no sort of awareness of what they're doing. Now we all know that this arms trade not only don't want the demonstration, now they're saying we don't want the arms fair. That's progress. And it's progress because people like you come out and demonstrate, and you do it peacefully and you do it happily, and you do it with wonderful colours as well. Now, one of the things that is constantly thrown at me when I argue against having the arms fair is the fact that people say, well, it brings a lot of money into, and it's very good for our economy. But people used to say that about the slave trade. They used to say, we can't manage without slaves. We really need them. Britain will go bust without them. Well, the fact is, of course, we didn't. We didn't need slaves, and we don't need arms. For me, and I think for most of London, this is an embarrassment. We don't want to be known as being, a fantastic place to have an arms fair. We want to be known as a good place to have fairs, trade fairs on renewable energy and things that actually make life better for people and better for the planet. And so, thank you all so much for coming. Thank you to Kat for actually, and to CND and all those organisations involved. It's really important that we protest. It's our democratic right, and it shows other people exactly how we feel, and that's incredibly important. So thanks very much, and I hope not to see you in 2 years' time, okay? We're going to stop this arms fair. We've got 2 years to do it, and we've got a lot of people on our side. Thank you.
Okay, I think that's the end of the speeches, unless anyone else wants to make a speech. But maybe we can hand back over to the samba band. This is the end, I'm afraid. They won't let us get any closer.
I want to go to the station over there.
So this is the end of the where the hell's the line where we're allowed to go?
You let us up a blind alley.
Prince Regent DLR is over that way. Down that path. If that's the place if you want to leave from. Yeah, if the samba band want to play, that would be cool. But thank you again for all being here.
I'll move to there, that's no problem. Can we have a talk together here?
Yes, go for it.
Right, let me talk to you then. Put your arm down. Now.
I'm listening to you, man. I'm just watching that van, because when that van gets here, that means you're going in the back of it.
No, what I want to say that the police think about the issues involved.
Yes, ma'am.
Think about the arms trade. Think
Always,
about.
ma'am.
No, don't ma'am me. I don't want you to ma'am me, and I don't want you to say yes, ma'am, so that because you're not actually listening, are you?
No, what I'm doing is watching that van, because when that van gets here, they got 2 girls on that lady. Why don't you get 2 girls for this lady? Thank you, mate. Goodbye. I'm not going anywhere. Goodbye.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Why don't you want to listen? Why don't you want to listen? Why don't you want to hear
Bye-bye,
what is
darling.
happening? Yeah, good for you, love.
Because it's political.
But that's all right. People are politics, aren't they? People are politics. What do you think politics is all about? Politics is about people. Yeah, well then, why is it that you seem to think that politics has nothing to do with what you do? It does. It has everything to do with what you do. It has everything to do. I am off the bloody road.
But she's not under arrest, is she?
No, I'm not under arrest.
Come with me. Come on, come with me.
No, I don't understand the detail, but I'll be there if all else fails. But I don't believe in holding up a house that wants to fall down. I can see you've got a lot to give. Oh, I can see you've got a lot to give.
You're going to come out, you're not going to realise
Piece
the camera.
Oh, yes,
Here we are towards the end of the first day. Can't imagine a more peaceful way to be ending the peaceful demonstration on the famous rinky-dink system, powered by bicycle power. There's been absolutely no violence or no aggression today. There's 400 people on the march. We went back to the Peace Cafe around the corner, run by, what's his name? Bill, who gave a speech earlier. I think Bill's speech was actually quite handy because he's an older East Ender and he was talking about when this was bombed, this whole area was bombed in the Second World War. That was a lovely ride. And of course he's talking from the experience of what it's like to receive these weapons, to be on the receiving end of these weapons that they're selling at Excel. And of course that's an extremely poignant point to make, because very few people in this country have any idea what it's like to be on the receiving end of all the weapons that are being sold in there. God bless us all and everyone, Tiny Tim.
With ideas of war, and fighting the world, virus and chemicals.
life in the city. Connected life everywhere, everywhere, everywhere.
I went back in the deep-water bus. It takes 2 hours.
So start by looking at me and then them, and then slowly look down and see what I'm doing with my hand. Yeah. Oh, look at that. Wow, that's good stuff.
Deep-water bus saying, it should make a good call there. 2 hours sleep. We get back to the hotel. I'm throwing up.
I think I would have started as somebody else's hotel.
That's why we're taking